Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide today. If you're joining us, you are likely embarking on what's probably one of the most exciting, challenging, and honestly rewarding journeys of your entire life, and that's starting fresh in Canada. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, consider me your supportive mentor. We're going to lay out a complete step-by-step explainer on exactly how to navigate the Canadian financial and professional systems. First of all, I just want to take a second to acknowledge the incredible bravery it takes to literally pack up your life and bring your valuable skills across borders. You already have the talent, no doubt about it. But here is the big question you're probably facing right now. How do you navigate the hidden rules of Canadian success? Because every single country has its own unwritten professional and financial playbook, right? Well, consider this explainer your ultimate roadmap to bypass those systemic barriers and unlock long-term stability and peace of mind in your new home. All right, let's start with section 1, the arrival and your budget. Every great hero's journey starts with a rock-solid foundation, and your journey in Canada is no different. The very first major milestone we need to tackle is securing your financial footing immediately upon arrival. Let's talk about how to protect those hard-earned savings. When you first land, everything is new, everything's exciting. But because of that, it is incredibly easy to lose track of your spending while setting up your life. Our sources highlight that underestimating the cost of living, especially things like housing, groceries, and transportation in the major cities, and taking on unnecessary early expenses are the most common financial traps. Without a realistic budget mapped to your specific destination city, those initial splurges can really quickly lead to intense financial stress. So, when you're dealing with a brand new currency, you need a simple, actionable blueprint. Enter the 50-30-20 rule. It's like a financial safety net. 50% of your income goes to absolute necessities. We're talking rent, utilities, and groceries. 30% is discretionary, so that's for the things you want but don't strictly need. And finally, 20% is strictly dedicated to savings and debt repayment. Breaking your budget down this way gives you a highly effective, totally manageable way to track daily expenses and just stop overspending in its tracks. Now, within that 20% savings slice we just talked about, your absolute top priority is building a contingency plan. You really want to aim for 6 to 8 months of living expenses saved up. Why? Because, well, emergencies happen. And unfortunately, newcomers can sometimes be targeted by employment scams, usually via phishing emails. Having a solid backup plan of 6 to 8 months prevents you from ever having to make rushed or desperate decisions. You can start small, open a separate high-interest bank account, and just automate your savings. That way, you're building that crucial safety net without even thinking about it. Moving right along to Section 2, building your Canadian credit. Okay, once your daily budget is stabilized, we have to tackle the vital and, honestly, often misunderstood Canadian credit system. This is the invisible score that governs so much of your life here. Take a look at this quote directly from our sources. It reveals a pretty harsh reality. To Canadian institutions, having no credit history is treated almost exactly the same as having a bad credit history. If you arrive without a local credit record, you're just viewed as a high-risk individual. This lack of history can literally block you from renting an apartment, getting a basic mobile phone plan, or even securing a loan for a car. So how do we fix this immediately? Well, here are 3 highly actionable steps. First, open a bank account within your very first week of arrival. You usually only need 2 pieces of ID to do this. Second, ask your bank for a secured credit card. And this brilliantly illustrates our strategy. You see, a secured card requires an upfront deposit that entirely removes the risk for the bank and builds immediate trust. Third, set up auto payments. Paying your balance in full and on time every single month is hands down the fastest way to prove you're a reliable, low-risk borrower. But listen, here is a massive trap you must avoid at all costs. While you're out shopping, setting up your new home, you're going to be offered these really easy-to-get department store credit cards. Just say no. Our sources heavily emphasize that these retail cards come packed with hidden exorbitant fees and massive interest rates. If you miss even one payment, it will severely damage your burgeoning credit score before it's even fully established. Stick to your bank's secured card for sure. Which brings us to Section 3, translating your international experience. You have incredible international work experience, right? But now we need to learn how to translate it for the local market. The very first barrier is the resume itself. International norms often include photographs, dates of birth, marital status, and just these endless lists of daily duties. In Canada, it's completely different. Human rights legislation actually means employers strictly avoid personal details to prevent bias. So your Canadian resume must be clean, concise, ideally just 1 to 2 pages, and absolutely free of personal identifiers. Actually, scratch the long list of duties entirely. Your resume must be fiercely achievement-focused. And here's the catch. You also have to design your resume for the robots. Before a human hiring manager ever even lays eyes on your application, it almost always has to pass through an ATS, or applicant tracking system. This is software that scans your resume, specifically searching for keywords pulled directly from the job posting. If you submit a generic resume that doesn't mirror the exact language, skills, and terminology of that specific job description, the software will literally just automatically filter you out. So customization is not optional here. It's absolutely required. So the crucial point is how you describe what you actually did. Canadian employers don't just want to know your responsibilities, they want to know your results. A weak, duty-based example would be something like, handled customer inquiries. Okay, but a strong Canadian achievement uses the STAR method. That's framing the situation, task, action, and result to say something like, resolved 95% of issues on first contact. By reframing a basic, everyday duty into a highly quantifiable achievement, you instantly prove your concrete value to a Canadian employer. All right, let's jump into Section 4, Unlocking Hidden Job Markets. Even with an absolutely perfect resume, you still might hear that dreaded excuse, you lack Canadian experience. So let's completely pivot our strategy to the hidden job market. Up to 80% of jobs in Canada are never publicly posted online. 80%. If you are only applying through public job boards like Indeed or LinkedIn, you are competing against literally thousands of people for only 20% of the available jobs. This perfectly illustrates why we need to shift our focus away from just applying online and start actively engaging with the hidden market. To bypass those automated systems entirely and access these hidden jobs, you have to network. Conduct informational interviews. These are just short, casual coffee chats with local professionals where you learn about the industry. Get out there and start volunteering immediately in your community or for a local nonprofit. Join professional industry associations related to your specific field. These strategies help you build vital social capital, showcase your soft skills, and demonstrate your cultural fit directly to the decision makers, which effectively bypasses the need for prior Canadian experience. Now, there is an essential mindset shift you must make here. Networking should be viewed as the art of building social capital rather than simply asking for a job. When you reach out for an informational interview, your goal is to build genuine, mutually beneficial relationships and to actually learn from locals. If you go into these conversations just asking for a handout or a job favor right away, it simply won't work. Show real curiosity, ask great questions, and trust me, the job leads will naturally follow. And finally, Section 5, Securing Long-Term Stability. As we look beyond the intense hustle of your first year toward permanent peace of mind, there are a few essential protective steps to take. First, always file your taxes by the April 30th deadline, even if you had absolutely zero income that year. Doing so unlocks vital government benefits like the Canada Child Benefit. Second, start contributing to a registered retirement savings plan, or RRSP, and a tax-free savings account, TFSA, for long-term wealth growth. Third, make sure you get your international credentials validated by services like WS, World Education Services, to ensure local employers truly understand the weight of your education. And finally, pursue continuous upskilling. Taking a local course or a bridging program is one of the absolute fastest ways to signal local competence. Well, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground today, haven't we? From mastering that 50-30-20 budget rule and building a flawless credit history from scratch to conquering the ATS robots and unlocking the hidden job market. You've got the skills, you have the bravery, and now you literally have the blueprint. You've conquered the hidden rules of settlement, so my final question to you is this. What is the very first milestone you are going to tackle today? Get out there and claim your success.